that they follow the tongue, the structure of the mouth, the structure of the mouth, the structure of the teeth, the structure of the tongue, all have been taken into account in order to pronounce, and it has got 3 levels. And if you recite Sanskrit slokas, you will find, and the whole body will vibrate. Our body consists of 5,000 crore cells. 5,000 crore cells. Each cell in our body, each cell in our body is a computer. Each cell in a body is a computer. When you cut your finger, that cell knows something has gone wrong. Blood will gush to that place, close the wound, and slowly over a period of 3 to 4 days, the wound will heal. How? It's intelligent. It knows how to correct itself, repair itself. And therefore, the Sanskrit language is one which can make your body better. It can reduce your temperature. Now I understand, in recently there is a write-up, there was a write-up in the American newspapers that in the New York hospitals, Rudram Chamakam, Purusha Sutram, Sri Sutram, etc. are being recited through the DVD's player when the heart operation and the brain operation is going on. Why? They feel the whole room gets vibration, and that vibration gives us divine energy, so that we don't make a mistake when you touch the heart or when you touch the brain. As you can see, Sanskrit is one which is all the 2 million pages which I mentioned earlier, the 4 Vedas, the 108 Upanishads, and the Ramayana and Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam. They are all in poem form. Our sages were not mere scholars, they were also poets also. And the chandas, that means the structure of the sentence, and all the things are so written that they are easily amenable for music. And Tyagaraja, as you know, had a vision of God Rama because of the way he sang his songs. Similarly, other Shama Shastri, if you like, or Dikshidhar, if you like, or Purandaradasa or Kanagadasa, and great singers, Tukaram and Tulsidas and so on, all of them sang songs in praise of the Lord. And therefore we do concurrently, meaning we do song, you sing, at the same time you go towards Godhood or towards godliness or towards the Atman or Paramatman or universal energy. I'll recite one sloka just to show the beauty of Sanskrit language. Tacham yora vrinimahe gadum yajnaya padaye devi swastirasthunaha swastirmanushebyah urdhvam jigadu beshajam shanno astu dvipate sham chatushpate. I congratulate again Shankara TV for giving Veda Parayana in the morning for an hour or so, where 5 or 6 students, children or adults recite the Vedas. By reciting Vedas, you will find our body will get rejuvenated, our health will improve, our longevity will go up. That's the beauty of the Sanskrit language, which other channels are also doing. The TTD channel is doing, and Samskar channel is doing, and therefore we should try to give importance to Sanskrit language. In the years to come, if our India Century Mission, which Indian Heritage Academy is propagating, and we are getting a bit of help, I would acknowledge here the Dhirubhai Ambani Foundation is helping the Indian Heritage Academy to spread the mission of India's Century Mission. The India Century Mission is being supported by him, by the Dhirubhai Ambani Foundation. I give complimentary to him. Why to him? I hope that his example will be followed by other 500 companies in India. 500 companies today. Why are they important? They are the most important segment of our society. If you divide the India as a system as a whole, thus what are the subsystems? One is the business industry section. Second, the education system. Third, the agriculture system. Fourth, the media subsystem. Like that we can divide our transport system, our economic system, our government public administration system. I can divide them into about 6 or 7 major categories: the political system, the public administration system, the education system, the insurance and banking system. If you take all these systems put together, we should know this is the commercial era of Kali Yuga. Commercial era of Kali Yuga. First of all, we got Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and we have now in the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga started on 3102 BC, 17th February, Thursday, midnight. Kali Yuga started when Krishna left his mortal body and left. About 30 years prior to that was our great Kurukshetra war. In the earlier Yuga, Sri Rama was boy. In this Yuga, our Sri Krishna came in Dwapara Yuga. In Kali Yuga, we are expecting Kalki to come, and many people consider Sai Baba is one manifestation of the emergence of the Kali Yuga, which is going to come to India and to help the whole world. And coming back now, it is a commercial era Kali Yuga. And don't think Vaishya is a bad connotation. Vaishya have created wealth. Vaishyas have done wonders. The business industry sector, even take last 100 years, what has been achieved in the last 100 years by mankind. We are the subject of mankind. Remember, we discussed about planet Earth, we discussed about plant kingdom, we discussed about animal kingdom. Now we are discussing mankind. In the world scheme of things in Indian civilization. And in this Indian civilization, the commercial era Kali Yuga means the commercial people or business industrial people or the trading people, and all others are subservient to them in a sense. The teachers are subservient to them. The scholars are working with them. In a way, they are also controlling the government directly or indirectly. It is the duty of the commercial people, or I would say business industry sector, represented by FICCI, the Confederation of Indian Industry, ASSOCHAM, Merchants Chamber, and so on. All of them should take interest in this Indian civilization, to uphold it, to preserve it, to promote it, to assist it, to spread it, etc., etc. Why? It is their era, and they should come forward to support this era. In the first Yuga, we had Swamijis, Sadhus, Munis, Rishis, and so on. Then they had the Kshatriya era. They had their own scheme of things. Now we are in the commercial era. It is their duty to come forward to help this country. They will be the beneficiaries of that. For instance, now India, as you know, was one single cultural entity for 10,000 years or more number of years. But because of variety of reasons, we declined, and Shankara came to revive us. And for 800 years, we were under foreign rule. Mostly Muslim conquerors came. They were aliens to our culture. They were aliens to everything that is in India. They had entirely different culture. Their great leader Jinnah said, I want to quote him here, our culture is different. We are different. We are entirely different from the Hindu culture. He even objected to our saying the word India. You should call yourself Hindustan. You are Hindustan and Pakistan are different. Anyway, things have changed now. We are a plural society. We are a multicultural society. Unity in diversity is our strength, they are saying. But what is this unity coming from? That unity is coming from what we call the manifestation of our Sanatana Dharma, or Hinduism, wrongly called Hinduism, and its manifestation in terms of festivals, in terms of our acharas, samskaras, our music, our dance, our shared values, our Ganesha, our Muruga, and our respect for great teachers of India, and all Kumbh Mela and Deepavali and Navaratri, Vijayadashami, all these celebrations which we are conducting now are uniting India. Even in Bangalore we can see, though Bengalis may be there, Tamilians may be there, Telugu peoples may be there, and all of them get together. They may stay separately to celebrate their own cultural festivals. Like in Maharashtra, Ganesha festival is very grand function. In Bengal, it is the Vijayadashami is a grand function. Kerala, it may be the Onam celebration, maybe the grand function. But cutting across all these differences, there is an underlying thread which connects all over India, and that India has become one thanks to the British conquest and thanks to the British rule for some time, the cultural entity which sustained, which withstood the onslaught of time, withstood all the invasions, which withstood all the cultural onslaught in India. We were able to become one politically nation state. Incidentally, you should know a nation state is a recent phenomenon, very recent phenomenon. About 200-300 years ago only the concept of a nation came with boundaries like Germany, France, Italy, England, America, and so on. So India became one single cultural entity only now. And besides Nepal, we are the only nation, 820 million people, who are Hindus, who are majority only in our country, and perhaps Nepal also, which is a tiny country of 10 million people. 120 nations in the world with 2.4 billion people, the majority are Christians. In 60 countries in the world, the majority are Muslims, and 1.2 billion. 9 countries in the world, including Japan, China, Indo-Chinese countries, Burma, Sri Lanka, and so on, are Buddhist countries. And we are the third largest